I'd like to introduce the concept of motivation at work and look at some of the basic concepts associated with motivation. So, what is motivation? We all know what it feels like to be motivated to do something. What does that mean besides having this feeling? Well, in organizational behavior, we can define motivation as the underlying forces pushing us towards a thought or a behavior, pushing us towards something, especially a behavior. So I've got a little illustration here. This little green box, that's me. And I've got different forces pushing me towards either behavior A or behavior B. Now, perhaps behavior A is to read a chapter in the textbook, and behavior B is to go eat lunch. I'm going to have different forces on me. I've got one force that says, oh, I'm hungry. That's pushing me towards behavior B, but I've got another force saying, oh, I want to finish this chapter right away before noon. And then I've got another force on me saying, well, I want to get a good grade in the course too, so I don't want to get behind. And I've got these different forces that will either push me towards one of these two behaviors. And whichever forces are stronger, that's what we're the most motivated for, and that will lead to that behavior. So these forces might go in the same direction. They might be contradictory, and sometimes they might be stronger in one direction than in another, but we've got all these forces, all these motivations going on inside of us. Now, the reason that motivation is important in organizational behavior, because motivation influences our behavior in some very specific ways. One thing that motivation does is it helps us prioritize goals. We're going to figure out, what do I want? Do I want behavior A? Do I want behavior B? Which do I want more? Which is going to be my priority? To go get lunch or to read this chapter? And it'll help us make decisions. It'll help us choose where to expend the energy that we have. And I think, well, maybe if I eat lunch, I'll have even more energy to read the textbook, and I'll be even more motivated. Or, on the other hand, I might be a little sleepy and less motivated to read the textbook after lunch. But the motivation that we have, whatever that is, will help us choose where to expend our energy. Now, a key idea is that motivation is linked to performance. Now, performance in organization basically means how well somebody just does their work. And as leaders and influencers, you want to help people to perform well, because that's how the work gets done, that's how the organization benefits, and also it's the high performers who get more rewards in an organization. They tend to get paid better, they tend to get promoted, and if we're leaders who want to do good to people, we're going to want to see the people under us perform well. We're also going to want to perform well. So performance is how well we do something, and a basic formula that everybody should have in their mind is performance equals motivation times ability. So this motivation is how much you feel pushed to do something. These forces are acting on you. And ability is how able we are to do something. So that includes our cognitive, physical, and environmental capacities. What can we actually do? And that can be either due to either internal or situational constraints. So, for example, cognitive ability is if I'm supposed to read a book, but I don't know I don't understand all the words in the book, my cognitive ability is limited. And I can increase that by looking up the words in an online dictionary or on Wikipedia. And if I do that, learn that vocabulary, that will increase my ability. There's also physical constraints. Maybe I forgot to buy the textbook before the class started, and I need to read the chapter, but I don't have the book. Well, my ability to do that is really low, so that will lower my performance. But there can be environmental constraints also that can limit our ability. If I'm in a really noisy situation, or if there's some pandemic going on or things like that, that might limit my ability to concentrate on the textbook. So our performance doesn't just depend on our motivation. It doesn't depend on our ability. We've got to have both of those. And so when both are really high, we're going to perform well. But if one is really low, we're not going to perform well. And certainly if both are really low, we're not going to perform well. So this is a general formula to figure out, okay, if I want to increase my performance or the performance of somebody else, I need to either increase my motivation or I need to increase my ability. Sometimes increasing one's easier than the other. And the same way, if we're managing people, if we want them to perform better, we need to increase their motivation and we need to increase their ability. And that will lead to higher performance, which is good for the organization and it's good for the individual.